Good evening, and welcome to the show called Off the Court. I'm your host, Paul Geigle. We're here each and every week before Wareham Viking varsity basketball, and we're here once again with Coach Kevin Brogioli. Coach, happy holidays, and let's pick right up where we left off last week, or 2 weeks ago. Big win in Seekonk, third road game. Offense just came busted loose.
Yeah,
101 points.
Right. Anytime you can get into the triple digits, you know you've had a good night offensively. And I thought we took advantage of Seekonk's, let's say, somewhat lackadaisical defensive effort.
Yeah, and you had a size advantage also.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. And the other good thing, I think, coming from a coach's standpoint, all 13 guys on your roster who were in the scoring sheet.
That's always nice to see.
You can't get anything better than that.
No, that's
right?
great. All the kids work hard in practice. It's nice to be able to give them some quality playing time in a game situation. And then they were the ones in there at the end scoring the 100.
Yeah, and Jeff Hood, a monster first half, 20 points in the first half. I think he had 28 overall, 15 rebounds.
Right, he's really turned it up recently. The last few games he's played very well, and especially on the offensive end.
You know, as I've been watching these games, I was kind of thinking that he was due for a breakout game, and he came through big time. Darian, of course, scored 23, I think.
Yes.
And I thought also your rotation at the forward position, getting incredible contributions from those guys too, all of them.
Right.
I mean, we talked about, Chris Siachi, which I'm pronouncing correctly now because I sat next to his mother in last game. But Chris finally broke out and had a double-figure game. I think he had 11.
Yep.
So that was nice to see for Chris's confidence.
It was. Chris didn't have a lot of varsity experience, but he does little things well. They don't always get noticed maybe in the scorebook, but he does things that aren't unnoticed by the coaching staff. But it was nice for him to get some points.
Yes, nice to his confidence, and you stuck with him, and you're looking good on that move. But your other rotations too. Sammy Brogioli, his three-pointers, he's giving you some incredible offensive punch coming off the bench.
Yeah, it's nice when you can have someone come in that is consistent with the three-point shot, and that's a question mark going into the season for the team, and right now he's answering that question mark.
Yeah, we got the Energizer, Anthony Abbott, of course, our favorite. Cody Stammer is coming in, and who's the other? Troy Hairston is giving you some good bench
Troy's getting
moments.
some more time now, so we're starting to develop that rotation, and people are starting to understand what their roles will be on this team. And I think once that gets settled in, it's too bad that we had this layoff because I thought it all came together in the Dayton-Rehoboth game. I thought, and then now we've had this 2-week layoff, but you can't control the schedule.
No, you can't. So we get rid of the 3 road games in a row, and we come home to Dayton-Rehoboth, a team that on paper was supposedly going to fight for the South Conference Championship, supposedly, by some prognosticators. That game, I think, was an interesting game. I think I spoke with you at center court right after the game, and I think you were pretty pleased. You said you thought that was your best game so far this season.
I thought on the defensive end, we did exactly what we wanted to do. We held their leading scorer, Ryan Walsh, to 2 field goals, 4 points for the game.
Right.
And he's averaging over 20 points a game right now.
Yeah.
And to be able to hold him to 2 field goals was a great team effort, but Mason Vasconcelos and Anthony Abbott specifically had the job of not letting him get the ball, and then the team had the job of, once he did get it, making sure he didn't do any damage with it.
Ryan Walsh, I know, and I was just going to say, Mason Vasconcelos had a monster game. He had 12 points, three or four three-pointers, and him being able to fire that ball up and also take do his assignment, being Ryan Walsh, incredible. He had to be pleased with that.
Exactly. To be able to do that on both ends of the court, that's hard to do. Sometimes when you have someone focused on defensively, their offense gives up a little bit, but not that game.
And another big game from Jeff Hood, 20 points again, immense. I think he had 15 rebounds against Seekonk. I didn't see the stat sheets, the offensive and defensive rebounds, but I know him and Quentin did an incredible job on the boards.
They did.
They matched up well with you height-wise. They had Dayton-Rehoboth had a tall guard. I think Kano Ballastar, he's a 6'4" guard. Their big forward, their big scoring forward is Keith Mickelson.
Mickelson, right.
Yeah, he had a good first half, but you guys did a nice job on him in the second half.
Right. I think whenever you shut down the team's main scorer, someone else will have an opportunity maybe to step up. But I thought we held them all in check. They didn't have a field goal in the second quarter. So to hold a team to 0 points in a quarter, especially of Dayton Rehoboth's caliber, it's a sign that you're playing good defense.
Right. And especially defense. I thought Darian Fernandez, I think he only had 1 point in the first half. He ended up with 7. And I think that was only his 5th game in his career where he hadn't reached the double-figure mark. But my observation in that game, I thought he was incredible. He was working hard on defense. He was all over the court, setting up plays. And that pass that he's tried one of these passes at least once a game where he's running around the key. He finds he doesn't give eye contact to the man, but that ball goes right through 45 degrees. Does that make your heart beat a little when he makes that pass?
When it works, it's a beautiful thing.
I know.
But everyone's got to be ready for it. His teammates have to be ready for it also.
It clicked, though.
But he's got that ability. And even though he didn't score a lot, he still contributed. And Darian, I think, gets frustrated when he doesn't score. But he does so many other things out there that he doesn't have to score for us.
I thought it was a very unselfish game on his part. And down on our end, where Christian and I were sitting, he actually left his feet to try to save a ball from going out of bounds to get it off off one of the Dayton players. He was just sacrificing himself all over the place. I had to give him kudos for that. I mean, really.
He deserved it.
Yeah, he really did. He played a monster game. And we celebrated his, gave him a little presentation.
Correct. Before the game, we recognized the fact that he scored 1,000 points in Fairhaven earlier on the road, and we wanted to recognize him in front of the home crowd.
Right. So, that being said, we got a busy week coming up. Hopefully, we're going to get a game in against
Old Rochester.
Old Rochester or the Bulldogs coming to our court here Friday night.
We hope.
Weather permitting, right? We got a roof issue again, folks. Tell us about O.R.R. We got the coach there has been there for quite a while. Steve Cavallo.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, eight seasons. They were 14-6 last year. This year they got a very young team. I understand 10 underclassmen.
Yes.
And only 3 or 4 seniors on their roster.
They're young. A lot of their scorers from last year's team graduated, so they're looking for other people to step up and score points for them this year. And one of their players is a former Wareham player.
Really?
Raekwon Phillips is there. He's there on school choice.
Okay.
And, he's one of their starters now this year for them.
All right. He's a senior?
He's a junior.
Junior.
Yeah.
So he played for Wareham as a
JV last year as a sophomore.
All right. And this their big guy, Jeremy Bear, 6'4" junior, strong inside guy.
And a good shooter. He can shoot a 15-footer. He's pretty consistent with that shot.
The other guy, Chris Machismo, 6' senior guard. Michael Pruchnik. Yep, 6'2" junior forward. He scored 30 points in the last 2 games. Pruchnik, who's the other guy there? We got Raekwon Phillips. I guess Jeremy Bear is the guy to watch.
Yeah, Jeremy Bear and Pruchnik have done their scoring lately, and mostly on offensive rebounds. So we've got to keep them off the boards. They work hard on the offensive boards. So that's one of our main areas of emphasis is keeping them off the boards on Friday night. Right,
and for all you viewers out there, I hope you get you guys there early this time because Steve Fennell's team, Coach Brogioli's right-hand man, he's the man in charge of the JVs. They're undefeated. And supposedly, the Rochester JVs are loaded with some very talented underclassmen. So this should be a very interesting game.
It will be, and they've always had battles. Last year, they played overtime, a couple of the JV games, and they are touting their underclassmen at Old Rochester, and they should.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be
this
a good game.
I'm sure Steve's looking forward to the game.
Absolutely.
It'll be a good test for those guys.
It will be.
They're playing very well. I've been able to see a couple of the JV games, and you got some good talent coming in to this team next year also.
We do.
Right.
We do. And Coach Fanion does a really nice job getting them ready.
Right. So hopefully we'll get that game in. And we got a big tournament coming up. You've got 3 games in a row. We got a Saturday over at Greater
New
Bedford Vocational, and a Saturday game, and it's going to be against Dartmouth High School.
Correct.
Right? Afternoon game. Is
Yes.
tournament tell us a little about the tournament, Coach. It's the Burgo Basketball Association tournament.
Yes.
Fifth season.
Correct. Steve Burgo lives in the Dartmouth area, and he's got a basketball complex that he has summer league games in, and so he tries to raise money for students or athletes for basketball camp, for the facilities in Dartmouth. We participated the last several years. We won it the last several years. This year, a team dropped out, so it's not so much of a tournament format anymore. We know we play Dartmouth on Saturday afternoon at 3, and then we know we play Barnstable at 4:30 on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, one of the teams, Cathedral, I think, dropped out, and then another team dropped out. So went from a 8-team format to a 6-team.
Correct.
So you're going to have 3 games on Saturday for the fans to watch, and 3 games on Sunday.
Right.
Team from New York's coming in.
Yes.
Kennedy High School.
Kennedy. They played last year.
Oh, they did.
They lost to Spellman in the first round, and we had the winner of that game, which was Spellman.
Okay.
So they were in it last year as well.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Dartmouth Indians. Struggled last year, 5-15. Disappointing season. Steve Gaspar's the coach. He's been there forever, 27 seasons, 315 wins. Great coach. They got some boys that can play, though. This kid, Brady Holden, senior.
He's the real deal.
Yeah.
He's 6'4" now. He can light it up from outside. He's a great three-point shooter. He's really probably be the best three-point shooter we play this year. So we've got to focus on him, try to shut him down on the outside. But they also have Simonetti, who is a guard, Nick Simonetti for them, a senior guard, and he's also a quality basketball player. And they've played since their freshman year, I believe. Together.
Wow.
And I think on varsity since freshman year. So they've got a lot of experience, and those two are the heart of their team.
Right, and Cody Borges, I guess, has been playing tremendous. He scored double figures for 5 games in a row. So he's a junior also, another talented junior that they got. Right. They're center, 6'5", so they match you pretty close, good size. Nick Tools, he's their senior center. So if he stays out of trouble, he could give you a little problem.
Oh, absolutely. They'd be one of the top teams in the South Coast Conference if they were playing in our league, I think. But the key to them is to stop their outside shooting, and hopefully we can get the tempo going up and down. Right,
so it should be an interesting game. And like I said, Dartmouth has been struggling, but got a good coach there. So what kind of defense does he?
When I saw them play earlier this year, they played mostly man-to-man and a little bit of 2-3 zone, but mostly man.
Okay. And Sunday we got Barnstable. I don't know much about Barnstable. What can you tell us about them?
They're big, and they've got a high-scoring guard. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but a freshman coach saw them play last week, and we'll actually see them the day before on Saturday. We'll watch them play.
You'll be there watching them.
We'll be there watching them. But they've got a transfer 6'7" student, I think, from some Scandinavian country that got cleared to play, and then another good big man, a homegrown big man, and a guard that's scored 33 points against Durfee last week.
Coach has got his scouts out watching already. But Barnstable, are they? Dartmouth is in the Old Colony League.
Correct.
Is Barnstable also in the Old Colony League?
Barnstable.
Or Mayflower?
No, they're not the Mayflower. I'm not sure if they're in the Old Colony. I think they're with Bridgewater Raynham in that league with Bridgewater Raynham.
Big town, big town. So they're playing.
Oh, absolutely. They're a big school.
Big school. And I was hoping to get a hold of the coach. I forgot last week to ask him to bring in your whiteboard. I thought we'd get into some X's and O's.
Oh, okay.
But today you can tell us, you did something in the Dighton-Rehoboth game that I just failed to, I forgot about a little while back. But Dighton-Rehoboth likes to do a high pick and roll. Tell us about how you defended against that.
Well, we knew they run the high pick and roll, and so there's several ways you can defend it. We decided every time that Walsh got the ball, we were going to double team off the high pick and roll and just double team him and make him give up the ball. If it was someone other than Walsh, we'd call it a stagger defense where the defense comes out, the big man comes out who's setting the pick.
That was Nicholson.
And then our big man, whether it's Quinton or Jeff Hood, would come out really high and stop that from happening, really come out hard and then find his man quickly, just giving our guard time to get around the pick in order to come out. And so we practiced that all week, the different ways to hedge the pick is what I meant to say, to either hedge it or to double team it. And we knew going into the game we were going to do one of those two depending on who had the ball.
Right. So, yeah, that was interesting hearing your comments about that and how you guys defended that. But, the key being also your guards taking care of Ryan Walsh, alternating the...
Well, we could put a fresh body on him, and we thought that tired him out as the game as the game went on, and he got a little bit frustrated also. But when you have athletes that can do that and they're tenacious, it really helps the cause.
Yeah, I think I spoke to Quentin at the end of that Dighton-Rehoboth game. We're going back to the Dighton-Rehoboth game again. And he said he was surprised that they weren't as physical as some people said they probably would be because of their size. And so he said physically they didn't match up against us, so once you guys got into that aspect of the game, he felt kind of fairly confident out there. I mean,
well, and that's good. You want your players being confident. You don't want them being overconfident. But once the game went on and they realized that maybe they weren't going to bang us as hard as we thought, that we took advantage of it.
Yeah,
and
you sure
doubled
did.
the score.
And Quentin had a good game. He had 6 points in that one and helped offensively and defensive on the boards too as well. But anyhow, we promise you the next time Coach sits down, maybe he'll remember to bring his whiteboard.
Okay.
We'll get into some X's and O next time.
Sure.
X's and O's, and that'll be fun. But don't forget the Burgo tournament's coming up, Old Rochester Friday night. And stay tuned. And remember, next week, again, on Off the Court with Coach Brogioli, this is a WCTV presentation, and it's produced by Christian Fernandez. I'm Paul Geigle. And stay tuned for Wareham varsity basketball on WCTV.